Wow. PRS just released their new SE CE model. Now guys, CE stands for Classic Electric, which means that the neck of the guitar is not glued to the body or doesn't go through the body. It's connected to the body via screws. And you've probably seen bolt-on necks before, right? So that stands for CE, Classic Electric. And the SE part, for those who are not aware, PRS guitars have 3 tiers of products. You got the core models, which are the most expensive ones, made in the US. Then you got the S2 models, which are also made in the US. Both are phenomenal in quality. And then you got the SE, which is the cheapest model. It's made in Indonesia, and it's made of cheaper products. Basically, the idea was to give players the same kind of quality as much as possible, but with a cheaper price tag. And no, I'm not sponsored by PRS. For the sake of factfulness, let's quickly look at PRS's website and the demo and the specs, just to make sure that we're not getting anything wrong here. Sounds great, and I'm pretty sure it's a high quality guitar. But let me tell you why I'm a little surprised and a little underwhelmed. When I went to the PRS website to look at the SE CE specs, I realized that it looks extremely similar to the Custom 24 model. So if you go to the SE CE and look at the specs here, you'll see what I mean. Now, to make it easier for you guys, what I did was that I created this table for you so that we can compare the SE Custom 24 and the SE CE models. I got 2 slides for you guys here. The first slide is what is similar between Custom 24 SE and the CE SE. And the second one is what's different. As you can see here, these 2 guitars are extremely similar. So back wood is mahogany, top wood is maple plus veneer. Guys, if you don't know what a veneer is like a really thin layer of wood that is very good looking, and it's put on top of the top wood of cheaper guitars. So the top wood of the cheaper guitar doesn't look as good, because if it did, it would probably be a more expensive guitar. So what they do with it is that they put a really thin layer of that good looking wood on top of it, and that's called a veneer. So the top wood is maple, but there's that third thin layer on top, which is the veneer.
The shape of the body for both guitars is the same. It's shallow violin. The neck wood is maple. Fingerboards are 10-inch rosewoods for both. Number of frets for both is 24. Scale length 25-inch.
Pickups are exactly the same. That means these 2 guitars are going to sound very, very similar, and that's one of the reasons I'm surprised, right? I'll talk about the sound a little bit in a second, but that's a big one. That's a very big one. Now, the main areas of difference between the SE Custom 24 and the SE CE model are here. The neck carve, the neck assembly, and how they look like. The neck carve in the Custom 24 is multiply, but the neck carve in the SE CE is scarfed. The difference is that in a multiply neck, what happens is that the guitar makers stack up a bunch of wood on top of each other. These are the same type of wood, so multiple layers, and then they laminate them together, and then they cut the shape of the neck. On the other hand, a scarfed neck is basically one piece of wood. So if we go back to the slide, this is where I think the Custom 24 actually wins, because a multiply neck is actually more durable than a scarfed neck. So if you're an artist, or if you carry your guitar around and your guitar comes in contact with different temperatures, different moisture, so on and so forth, you want a more durable neck. The other difference is the neck assembly. The Custom 24 neck is set, so the neck is glued to the body of the guitar. And then you got the CE, which is bolt-on. Like I said it earlier in the video, it's attached to the body with some screws. Now, this will have a couple of very important impacts on the CE model. The first impact, which is actually pretty cool, is that it slightly changes the tone of the guitar. Guitars with bolt-on necks sound a little brighter and sound a little twangy, which is pretty cool because it means that if you coil split the guitar, so that means that your humbuckers now are not humbuckers, they're like single coils. You get each coil out of the way, out of the circuit. It's gonna sound really stratty, for lack of a better word. Have that little twang like a strat. now the second piece of impact is actually for the benefit of PRS. I think I know what they did here. Guys, bolt-on necks are easier to manufacture and create, and they're easier to fix. So, for example, in the 1950s, when Leo Fender was creating the Telecaster, he insisted that the Telecaster have a bolt-on neck so that it's simpler to produce and it's simpler to maintain and fix. So bolt-on necks, simpler. Scarfed necks are also easier to manufacture. Putting the scarfed neck feature and the bolt-on neck feature together, PRS has made a move to simplify their manufacturing process. So really, if you think about it, the SE CE is a Strat Custom 24 that is easier to make. And look, I'm going to humble myself and say PRS knows something about their markets that I don't. And PRS has expert luthiers, including Paul himself, and I'll respect anybody who will educate me on this. Please do. This sounds a little cold because I am an avid fan of PRS guitars. I have 2 PRS guitars at home. This is my favorite guitar. This is a 7-string SE Mark Holcomb signature. It's an absolute gent machine. It sounds superb. The Alpha Omega down there, the pickups are phenomenal. The build is great. I love the flat neck. So I'm a massive fan of PRS. But the fact of the matter is that because the body wood is the same, the neck wood is the same, the scale length is the same, and most importantly, the pickups are exactly the same. Guys, last week I did this video on tone wood and what the impact of a electric guitar's wood is on its total sound. If you guys want to check out the full analysis of it, the link is in the description, so check it out. But the bottom line of it is that in a solid body electric guitar, the pickup is probably the strongest determining factor on how that guitar is going to sound like. And in these 2 guitars, even the woods are the same. So the tone wood thing doesn't even apply because the woods are exactly the same. And that's why I'm surprised. PRS, what's going on here? This release is not similar to any other releases that they've done, because what PRS has always done is that innovation. They brought in a Tele with a humbucker looking pickup that doesn't hum. They brought in the Silver Sky and they destroyed it. Custom 24, boom. McCarthy, the ultimate traditional blues guitar. My God, that guitar is superb. Middle guitars, you got the Mark Holcomb signatures, which I have 2 at home. You have the Dusty Waring signature with the Tomahawk pickups. That guitar is crazy. I played with it. It's superb. It's a classic electric, by the way. It's a bolt-on neck, speaking of, right? Every single release that they've done recently, as far as I can remember, was very innovative. There was something totally new there. There was not a blurred line. They came in and they punched it down. Why the CE? Why? Given the fact that it's very similar to Custom 24. Is it an easier built Custom 24 so it made your life a lot easier, so you sort of chuck that in to cut operational expenses a little? This doesn't make sense. I don't get it. And by the way, heaps of other brands do it, like a certain old school brand that comes in and just rinse and repeats the same damn thing without any innovation just every single year for the past 50 years. So it's like, if you look at PRS the way I do, it's on top of the food chain. You know, there's like levels to this. So then expectations are high too. So there you have it, folks. Based on what we just analyzed together, I don't think we're in for a surprise, but we're in for a very good high quality SE model. I'll be keenly watching to see how the market reacts to this. So let's see how this goes. Alrighto. Catch ya. I'll see you later. Oh,